Hi, everybody. If you are a parent, you are going to want to watch this video. We're talking about what do you need to do? What kind of conversation do you actually have to have with your children as you're actually starting the new school year? So some of your kids might have actually started the school year. Maybe you've got elementary kids, you've got kids in middle school, high school. This is the video you're going to want to watch. And I'm going to be walking you through 4 questions I encourage all parents to be asking their children, their preteen, their teenagers, as you're kind of launching into the school year. I am speaking from a professional that has been working with families for many, many years. My name's Dr. Karyn. If we have not met, I've been doing this for over 25 years. But I'm also going to share with you on a personal level as well, as the mother of 2 teenagers that are going into their final high school year. This is a conversation. These 4 questions are things that my husband and I have been asking our own boys since they were very little. Okay. And so definitely you're going to want to watch this whole video around 4 key questions to ask your kids as you're launching into this next school year. All right, here we go. The first one is you want to get clarity, ask your kids about, you want to get clear about what is it you want? What are the goals that you would actually like to be achieving this next year? Now, some kids might be like, oh, I know exactly what I want to do. I want to, get these kind of grades or join this kind of club and for a lot of kids, they're like, I don't know. So if you need some extra help, we have a leadership course that's going to be live in October. That's going to be going through this, including our own children will be actually part of it. It's live and virtual. But if you need help, you can check that out, and you can go to dkleadership.org. We'll kind of announce it later. But for those of you who can actually have this conversation, just literally ask them this question: what is it you really want as you're kind of like looking into this next year? What is it actually you want? And because you want to get clarity. I was just doing a podcast before this, and one of the things I was saying on the podcast is that, as for many of you, you've been following me, you know that I do leadership topics that are relevant for both families and workplaces. And leadership is a mindset. It's not a title, it's a mindset. And we can actually start teaching leadership skills to our children very young, okay, elementary age. And the first part of leadership is self-leadership, having awareness. And so some of your kids will have that self-awareness. They'll be like, oh, okay, I know exactly what I want to do. And other kids don't. And it's a skill, okay? So we want to be gracious and we want to be kind and we want to kind of help them along. But that's the first thing, okay, is kind of what are some of the goals that you would like to have in all parts of your life, not just school, but whether it's with jobs or social or friendships. So that's kind of like step number 1. Okay, second step is I want you to do a little reflection on last year. Okay, I want you to do a little bit of an audit. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of an audit from last year. What worked really well? What did you love about last year? What are you so proud of? Okay, from whether it's a goal that or maybe it's about bouncing back, or it might be a social, might be academic. What worked really, really well? Maybe it was around the scheduling. Okay, what worked really well that you're really proud of when you kind of think back to last year? And what you're now doing is you are, again, increasing that self-awareness. You're increasing that leadership skill. You're getting them to be reflective. And don't be tough on your kids if they're like, I don't know. Okay. And if they say, I don't know, here's a little trick actually. If they say, I don't know, really like right away, they haven't even thought about it. They don't know what the answer is and they're a little bit embarrassed. They're just going to say, I don't know, to kind of like keep you quiet. But if they pause and they're like, I don't know. They've tried to capture something, but they haven't quite got it. So they're trying. So we want to help them in either way. And here's a little trick that I have found with my own boys is I ask, it's what I call a drop-down menu. So I might ask them, again, the second question, what worked really well last year? And if they say, I don't know, I'll say, well, let me give you some examples. And it's almost like you're giving a multiple choice question. Are you proud of how you manage your schedule, or asking for help, or who you chose as your friends, or how you studied for your science test? So you kind of you're giving them very specific answers. And again, having that multiple choice question, also be like, yeah, you know what? I actually am proud of how I handled myself with like that 1 mark. I went in for extra help and I kind of put my hand up, like whatever it is. When you kind of give that multiple choice, all of a sudden they're like, okay, I like that. There's some truth to that. And so what you want to do with this one is you want to try to increase their self-awareness, okay? So you're asking them to be a little bit reflective. Be a little reflective on what actually worked. And what we're doing is we're really building, we're communicating, we're building that parent-teen relationship. We're building and strengthening that parent-child relationship. If you want to go deeper on this, we have fabulous free scorecard. It's a report card for parents. It's a freebie. It's one of our favorites actually. And what it is it was actually designed by, and I can hear my dogs coming up. Just bear with me 1 second. Okay, go ahead. You can let them in. Okay, thank you. Thank you. It's very relevant actually. My one son just dropped off my other 2 babies as I'm doing this podcast. So what the report card is, it basically allows teenagers and children to kind of grade their parents based on how are we doing in our relationship, how are we doing, where are we doing really well, and what actually needs work. And it's a wonderful way to kind of get real data on your relationship with your children in terms of how actually are you doing. Okay, so if you would like to get that, just write report card below, write down report card below, and somebody from our team will actually send that to you. It's a great resource. And on the resource, I also share about how do you actually share that with your kids. So anyway, so that is kind of, again, we're building the relationship. We're building that parent-child relationship. So first question is get clarity about what you want. Second question is what worked last year. We're trying to get them to be a little reflective. Third one, this is also really important. What do you think did not work? So now we're building out that that reflection skill, that self-awareness skill. What do you think did not work? And so what we're doing is we're looking back at the past to draw data. And once we have that, then we're gonna do something with it. But right now we can't change what we don't acknowledge. Okay, so you're trying to get your kids to do their work, not us as parents doing all the work. We want our kids to do the work. What did not work? Okay, what did not work? What do you think you were not proud of, or you think you want to do a little bit different? And again, do the same thing about the drop-down menu. So you do the same thing around, like, what do you think did not work? Do you think you said yes to too many activities? Do you think that maybe you struggled with your time management? Do you think that maybe you're going to bed too late? Do you think, and again, what you're doing is you're not telling them, well, you know what you did wrong last year? I'll tell you what you did wrong. You don't want to do that. Don't do the work for them, okay? What you're doing is you're asking questions, very specific strategic questions, to get them to do their own reflection. Okay, that's what we're really trying. We're trying to kind of help them really kind of think this through and be a bit more introspective. So the third one is what did not work and getting some clarity. And I would look for maybe about 2 or 3 insights in both question number 2 and 3. Okay, so number 1 was what do you want? Number 2, what worked last year? Number 3, what did not work? Again, we are going to the past. We're learning from the past. Now that we have this data, now what we want to do is go to question number 4, which is now that we have this data, what do we want to do moving for this year? And so you start actually kind of creating a plan. I was just talking to a client about this earlier this morning, which is why this is actually top of mind. And the whole idea is, a lot of times with the past, people can kind of get stuck. We can kind of look at the past, we can beat ourselves up, and then we can really feel defeated. The past can be our friend when we listen to it and we pull from it the insights to actually really help us in the present and the future. Then it's really incredibly empowering, right? So that's what we want. That's the mindset we want. So the next thing I want you to do is think about, now that you've kind of got this insight with your kids, let's take this insight and then let's kind of create a plan together. Let's kind of create a plan together with this insight. So for example, if one of the insights is I said yes to too many things, or I was out too much. Okay, so that's a really powerful insight. So how can we use that? What's the plan? What's the takeaway? I use that with my kids all the time. What's the takeaway from that? Well, the takeaway is instead of saying yes to 3 activities, I'm going to say only yes to 2 activities. And so now you're making it actionable. You're learning, you're reflecting, you're processing. Now you're actually transferring that data into the present and the future. Now we're going to start seeing some traction. And so what's the plan? I will tell you, doing this work for a very long time, that one of the biggest concerns, okay, that I see when I'm working with families that I work with, or businesses that we work with them in terms of on their family side as well, is a lot of people overschedule. And when we overschedule, it will highly impact the emotional well-being of our children. So if we are scheduled to the max and we're racing from one thing to the next, and we've got parents going in two different cars and we're like, we're basically roommates, that's now going to impact the marriage. That's going to impact the overall communication, the calmness in the home. That's going to now impact in terms of their emotion management, their stress, their anxiety. There is a ripple effect. Okay. So that's why I really want everybody who are parents before, and this is the time to do it, before we start saying yes to everything. Okay. And before, again, it's always a bit dangerous. I was saying this to a client earlier. It's always a bit dangerous coming off of holiday and everybody feels so relaxed. And then we go back to school and the temptation is actually saying yes to everything. It's almost like going grocery shopping when you're hungry. We kind of like buy too much. That's a little bit like September. September for a lot of people is we are so relaxed. So there's a temptation to say yes to a whole bunch of activities. Try to discipline yourself. And again, that kind of goes back to question number 4, kind of circles back to question number 1, which is what do you want? So if you have clarity about what you want, and be really focused on that, then when you create the plan, step 4, question number 4, you're saying, yeah, I'm going to say yes to these things because they're really important to me. And I'm actually going to say no to everything else. And now what you're doing is you're doing so many skills with your kids. You're teaching them foundational leadership skills. You're teaching them self-awareness. You're teaching them communication and goal setting and time management and stress management and everything we teach in our company. That's what you're teaching by asking these 4 questions. Okay. So this may seem like super simple, but it's actually pretty foundational. So I would be encouraging you to do this, whether or not you've got kids that are really little or actually all the way up to adolescents, even in kids in their 20s. Those are the 4 questions you can actually ask. And even as adults, we can actually ask that actually as well. So like I said, if you need some help with this, we have a live leadership. It's called Leadership 101. And it's a course that we teach live over 2 hours. And I kind of walk families through how do you actually get clarity about what you want. And also in terms of the plan specifically around time management to help you achieve that. So if that's something that would be of help to you, definitely check it out on our website, dkleadership.org. But like I said, use the 4 questions with your own kids and definitely get your hands on the report card. It's super fun. And when you get the report card, I actually walk you through about how to use it with your children. So thanks everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel so you get notified with other videos. If you've got a question, if you've got a theme you would like us to cover, make sure you send that to us actually as well. Thanks everybody.